So to apply the wax, I'm going to swirl my paintbrush around in the wax and get a nice coat on the brush, and then just brush it on. And you can see, or hopefully you can see, how it's changing the color of this paint. It really kind of richens the color. And I'm just going to get it into all of the grooves. The nice thing about wax is that it won't yellow over time. Huge benefit, because you can use it over white and light color. Well, I tell you, I don't know if I'll ever use polyurethane again. Although, I don't know, I haven't tried some of the, there's some really cool polyurethane products out that I haven't tried yet, so. Just wait. A year from now, I'm going to be like, oh, you've got to try this polyurethane. I get really excited about paint products. You know, some girls like shoes or like jewelry. I like paint products and brushes. So, okay, so for a piece like this, for a spot like this that has a lot of carving in it, I'm kind of stippling it into there. One thing about these brushes, if you do end up getting one, right at the beginning they do shed quite a bit, so you'll want to really kind of rinse it out. Another thing, if you're using a natural brush like this, apparently you cannot use my cleaning method of, you know, the crud cutter that I showed you last week. But a reader, I don't remember her name, I'll try to link her up if I can find it. One of my readers suggested, said that she uses cooking oil, just some vegetable oil, and rubs it over the brush. And what that does is it dissolves the oil-based product, and it kind of rinses it out, and then you can wash it off with just plain old soap and water, which I tried it with this brush because you can't use the crud cutter on this brush, and it was brilliant. It worked great. It worked really, really well. Okay, right after I apply the light wax, I'm going to apply the dark wax. And I just want to get a little tiny bit in my brush, not too much, because I want to have a lot of control. And then I'm just going to kind of work it in. And I don't think I'm going to do the entire box. I just want to kind of, you know, get a little bit of dirt in the edges, basically. And around the, just where there's a lot of texture, I just want to kind of work it in. You see, I'm kind of swirling the brush and okay, one thing you want to keep in mind too with where you're putting the wax, well, you can put it all over. I kind of am just putting it in certain places. One place I'm going to put it is around the keyhole, because that's where people would have kind of touched a lot around there, and as well as right here where they would have lifted to open it. And the idea is that there's lots of oil from people's hands touching it. That happens to old pieces where people touch them. They are kind of oily and dirty there. So it's kind of a, you kind of want to think through the kind of the history of the piece and how the piece might be used. Okay, there we go. So now we have a very sort of authentic looking aged finish. if you can tell, see it's still, the brush is still shedding a little bit. If you can tell, I just barely used any of the dark wax. A can of this will last you forever. You will definitely go through the clear wax a lot quicker than you will the dark wax. So this one's called Rugger Brown is what I used on this. And as you can see, hopefully, it kind of brought out some of the details. I'll take some photos and share those as well, but kind of brought out some of the details of the piece and gave it sort of that dirty, worn, aged look, but it's also protecting the finish too. I'm going to allow it to dry for a few hours, or at least till it's kind of hazy and it feels sort of dry to the touch. When wax is still feeling sticky or tacky, then kind of leave it alone until you can rub a cloth over it without any resistance. That's when you know it's dry. And Minwax says it only takes about, I don't know, a few minutes to let it dry to a haze. The Henins wax, you're supposed to leave it overnight, so it's better to go by feel. Once it sort of feels dry to the touch, then you can go ahead and try to buff it. If you're buffing it and your cloth is really sticking and resisting, then leave it alone, wait a while longer, and do it again. You definitely want to wait till the paint's totally dry before you wax. And another thing, if using the dark wax to antique a piece, if that scares you, you feel a little intimidated by that, and you're really comfortable with working with glazes, then go ahead and use the glaze and just do a clear wax over top. So work with whatever you're confident and comfortable with. Now, after you try waxes, you may decide, I was trying to put a lid on. Let's see, I can't sit still, I have to multitask. That's how I get so much done. I'm always like, oh, I gotta wash my brush while I'm talking to you here. Sit still. Anyway, so and I lost my train of thought now. Basically, work with what you're comfortable with. You may work with waxes and decide like, oh, I hate it, not my thing, and that's okay. Work with what you really like, and that's what makes the piece yours. When you've done your combination of the paint you like and the tools you like to use and the finish you like to use and the way you like to distress, all of those things, that all comes together to make the piece yours. And even though I've been painting furniture for many years now and have been doing it professionally for about 3 years, I'm still learning new things. I'm still learning about new products and new tools, and I'm still developing my technique, and things that I did even a few months ago, I probably wouldn't do them the same now because I've learned new things. So just continue to grow and change, and I would encourage you to not just get set in your ways with one kind of paint or one kind of product, just to kind of experiment and try new things, and you never know what you might discover and the kind of looks that you can create. There are lots of really, really neat paints out there and really neat products. So don't be afraid to just try them. If they don't work for you, that doesn't mean you failed. That just means it's just not for you, and that's okay. So enjoy your waxing. Please leave questions in the comments if you have them, and if there's anything else you want to know about.